Donncha, you are standing upon the roof of a large warehouse. You are in the Docklands. You are close to Battersea, the place where you awoke into this embrace, where you awoke into the night. Your keen senses hear the unmistakable clattering of something powerful within the warehouse beneath you. Bam! Something heavy strikes something metal deep within this building. As you stand upon the roof, I ask you, what do you do?
So at this stage, I'm going to take out my phone and send a text to Siegfried. Actually, I'll send like a WhatsApp with my location, so he can just like quickly Google Map it and see exactly where I am. So I'll send him that and say investigating, might be dangerous. And then I'm going to try and sneak into and remain as quiet as possible so I can get a look at what this thing is.
Absolutely. So let's have a stealth and dexterity roll, please.
Stealth. Oh, I'm so good at stealth.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, and that's a 10, so 4. 4.
Okay, you adopt a stealthy stance upon the roof. You see that the trail that you'd followed led to what looks like large skylight windows. They have metal mesh over the top of them, but you can see quite clearly that one of these would have been locked, but would have been wrenched open some time ago, and now it is left loose and able to be swung up to open this.
Yeah, so I'll follow and try and be as quiet as possible as I like. I want to try and get a look at this thing before it gets a look at me. If that's like my main thing. I don't want it to see me until I know what it is. So I'll be really, really like agonizingly slow in terms of how I move and that kind of thing. And like trying to step when it smashes or like that kind of thing. Because if it's making this much noise, then it's probably supernatural, and most of the things that are supernatural are scarier than I am. And I know that, so I'm going to try and be as quiet and quick as I can.
Absolutely. And whilst you make your movements, you first of all have to lower yourself through the gap into the darkness not being a problem for you. But regardless, it makes the place that you enter look particularly eerie. You see that as you lower yourself into this place, there is sort of like a gangway you can land upon, where a shipping crane would move along sort of on one select rail that would run the length of the warehouse. And you can see that all along the walls beneath you, as you look down, are piles upon piles of cages. Large cages. Now you're in a shipping district, some kind of storage warehouse, so you can imagine that this is perfect for keeping animals in, things like that. Maybe it's a veterinary place, but it's pretty big. And you hear once again a slam of something heavy smash into the sides of one of these cages, right down on the ground floor. At the angle you're at this point, you cannot see what's inside, but every now and then you see a blur of something moving in one of these things.
Inside the cage or outside?
Inside the cage.
Okay.
Inside. And you are making note that the bars that whatever this thing is smashing into are bending, but not giving just yet.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll try and move in a way. Now I don't know exactly how it looks, but if there's like this upper like rigging sort of area where the crane is, like to move along that instead of on the ground. Because I think that most things' instinct is not to look up. So I'll have a better time hiding. So I'm going to try and move, like, if it's necessary, like jump across and try and land on this like upper rigging and try and get a view from up on top.
Yeah, if you'd like to make a dex and athletics, please, to make the jump.
Yes, sir. Every time I go to my character sheet, I'm like, oh, I'm good at this. It's almost like
I'm good at this.
Almost like I planned to be good at infiltration.
Oh no, he is good.
But it's like I've only really done a lot of computer stuff, and so I forgot that I also spec'd him into this specific.
Yes, you were a creepy crawly as well.
Yep. Oh, that's really good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 10s. Oh my god. 7.
To you, it's just as natural as making a single step across a room. You sort of just push your strength into your leap, and you find yourself soaring over the large gap to land upon the position that you wish to land on. You are still at sort of the same height, but you can see that there are areas that you could like climb down the sides of they're like pillars, that hold this thing up.
Yeah, so I like to move so I can get a better angle at if I can see what's in the cage. Because if it's like a vampire, then I might help. But if it's like not, or it's furry, then I'm running away. So I'm just gonna like try and get a better angle and like move across, I guess, one of these like beams, ninja style, to get a better look.
That's absolutely fine. And you've already made the rolls necessary to be stealthy and to be able to jump across this thing. So I'll just say that you're able to do your fabled signature move. You decide that you are able to hang upside down upon one of these things, and like a bat, you're able to swing like you're standing on the rigging there, and then you just swing like that to that point there. And that's enough. You're able to peer down into the darkness, and you see a humanoid figure. Isn't furry, but looks incredibly angry and feral. What looks to be a 40-year-old man, fairly nondescript other than very, very dark hair with wild eyes. And this thing is snarling and smashing itself again and again into the bars of the cage. Bang, bang, bang. And amidst every impact, it gives it's like snarling bestially.
Do I think it's a vampire? Can I tell? Like, can I smell it? And like the scent of death? Or actually, a better question is, can I hear like a and like some sort of sense that it's alive?
I'm just going to be able to say that you can tell that this is a vampire. You've been around enough of them long enough to know that this is a vampire of some kind.
Okay.
It appears to be frenzying.
That's bad. Maybe I could give it some blood to calm it down. Where would I get blood? There's no one around this. Like, I didn't see people walking around the facility on the outside or anything. No.
No, you would have done your usual checks. You're very careful before you approach, and you wouldn't have seen anyone guarding.
Okay, I'll text Siegfried again. Bring blood bags. And then I will. God, I want to interact with it, but I'm afraid that if it sees me, it's going to go ballistic and try and kill me. And if it's frenzied, then it will kill me.
Bang, 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 as it doubles its efforts to break free.
I'm trying to think what keeps us. A lot of those myths aren't true. Like, I wonder if like I had silver or if something like that, I could keep it back, but it would keep me back as well if that was the case. And so I think I'm just going to hang upside down and watch and see. And if it looks like the bars are going to break, as opposed to it just, I'm basically just going to recon it. And if it gets out, try and follow it at like a sane distance.
Okay, so at this point, then we can say that you can decide that you want to study it. So if you think
Yeah.
you want to make any other rolls when we come back to you,
Okay.
we can make those and then discover if you learn anything more about it whilst you watch this thing. Another
Perfect.
bang, 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 and this sound echoes into the darkness. Darkness that we plunge into and then reemerge at Toff's location. You have just exited, or well, it's actually up to you. You said that you were walking away the last time we were with you with Sid's body, Toff. Sid's lifeless, drained body.
That is correct. So yeah, he would definitely be exiting the building, trying hard to get the mental image from his mind, but what has happened, what started off for Toff as a good evening. And he probably has this little voice in the back of his head whispering something about karma that some hippie he's probably known in his years of living had said. And one of the things that they said is that when you do something bad, it comes back on you threefold. This is much worse than that, because not only did his prior bandmates suffer, but now his sire is just a husk in his hands or his arms as he's walking out. Toff puts on this rough exterior, and he tries to keep people distant. And it really belies what is truly Toff's nature, which is he craves belonging. He wants to be part of something bigger. And it's one of the reasons why he hates the Camarilla. It's like a country club that he's never been invited to. He thinks that's total bullshit. So all this stuff, this flood of emotions is going through him. He just wants to smash something. He just wants to tear something apart. But he knows it'll do no good. So he's just walking down the street, just cradling probably the closest thing to a friend, a mentor, a father that he has known over these last long decades. And he can't come to terms with it. How could this happen? Sid has always been safe, always been smart. He was the one that always convinced Toff to play the long game. And this is beyond him. Immediately his thoughts drift to Donncha. And so he's gonna find Donncha, but first he's got to deal with Sid. He's got to give him the last bit of respect that he possibly can. So he goes over to this place, and I don't know, you can help me out here, Rob. Any place in London that would give you a nice overlook of where the sun would come up. And he heads there, and he heads there quickly, and he kind of just sits, maybe like a park bench or something. He just sits down with Sid sitting next to him. It's very macabre if anyone were to see it. This rather tall and attractive vampire sitting down by this husk of this man, just kind of withered and just pruned, I guess, raisined like. So he sits with him and he's just talking with him. Nothing in particular, maybe just reminiscing. Hey, do you remember that time when, kind of a moment, and probably just before the sun comes up, he would just look at Sid and he would say, I don't know what happened to you, but I will find out. And I will get vengeance for you. And he would just, and then be that one of those things, like if it was a show with a camera or something, he would whisk away with some celerity, and the sun would come up and it would just turn to ash, what remains of Sid. But what he does is he runs quickly to to he goes to Siegfried's place. And if the door is locked, then he kind of opens it and goes inside and just waits. Maybe he's a little disappointed that Siegfried's not there. But he just goes and maybe just sits in probably the darkest corner of Sid's. I don't see Sig's apartment being very dark. I see it bright and airy and well decorated and everything versus what was Toff's basement hovel. But he finds the darkest room there and he just sits there and waits, probably in a closet or something.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful, man. And you can leave Toff's body for the sunrise, but we still have a good many hours of darkness yet. But
Sid.
Sorry,
I don't leave my body.
Oh God! Sorry. Yes, you leave Sid there in a concealed area in one of the London parks. We'll say where.
Okay. I'm sorry. I misremembered. I thought it was close to sunrise. I thought it was like within an hour or so. So with the travel and the Sid thing and everything. So if there was some time, I think so. There would be this scene where Toff is in this closet, sitting down, almost childlike. And he's got this he got a new phone, didn't he? I think he got a new phone. So he's got this new phone and he's like, shit. And he's trying to send this text message and it's poorly written, but it's to Donncha. And it just goes, I know we haven't always seen eye to eye. I'm not asking for you to ever forgive me for what I've done. But I need you. Something big has happened. And it's just signed Toff, and then he sends it off. So that's probably the last thing you do. Then he's just going to hunker down and just be miserable.
That was beautiful, man. That was fantastic. And as that text is sent, we then move back into the darkness and we replace it with another kind of darkness, the darkness of the wings of a great stage. The stage of the Royal Opera House in Covent Garden. Siegfried, you were permitted to remain within the auditorium whilst the audience left. And you can't help yourself. Just alone in such a large auditorium, with your instincts as they are, you cannot help but climb those steps and feel the boards beneath your feet. And you're just looking into the wings, into the darkness of them. What's running through your mind, Siegfried, as you're standing upon such a hallowed stage, one you've probably dreamt about standing upon before?
It's surreal. Like as a vampire, it's difficult to like feel the physical affectations of nervousness. Like when your heart doesn't beat, like it doesn't give you that same buzz as it does when you're alive. But he can't help but like feel it in his mind, even though we can't feel it like in his gut. That kind of racing of everything. Like it's been months since he's performed. It's been forever since he's even gotten to see a show. And even that was kind of this like high of sorts for him, even more intoxicating than it ever was when he was alive. But now he's here, like standing. You can like see the stage, and you can see the like the house from the wings. And there's just like this rush of everything. And I imagine just like because perfect timing always seems to do this sort of thing to you. That's when his phone will like buzz, and I'll see Donncha text him that he's in a dangerous situation, like looking, and like have no idea what to do. And for a moment, he like considers like to just like go, to just leave right now and to go see what Donncha is doing. But in perhaps an uncharacteristic move, he'll actually just power his phone like all the way off, like not vibrate, not silent, not do not disturb. He'll actually shut it completely down and put it back into his pocket, and kind of just like can't help but like almost bob up and down with this sort of like nervous energy that he like feels compelled to do by habit, even if his physical body doesn't feel it in the same way.
Yeah, it's almost when you're at the apex of that decision: do I go or do I wait for the Toreador, for Lala to arrive? And it's then make the decision, put the phone back in as doors at the back of the auditorium swing back open. Lala de Winter, the Primogen of the Toreador, sweeps in a beautiful evening gown. She has over-the-top resplendent hair that's weaved into an intricate beehive upon the top of her head. She, in her hand, still has one of those. I don't know if you recall what the name for it is, but basically it's binoculars on a stick that they have at the opera, where they can sort of look from far away. She has one of those fashionably held between two of her fingers, almost like a cigarette holder, and she sweeps to stand at the very bottom of the stage, looking up at you. She's accompanied by a number of the Toreador that you might have recognized or mingled with at the time when there was that the large gala at Ventry Towers. But also it is notable that Cinder is among their number as well. She also is wearing a beautiful evening gown and stares at you, but there is no warmth in her eyes as she does so. Lala looks up at you and says, "Oh, you are already here, darling. You are keen, aren't you? Let me get settled. Let me get settled." And she makes a whole show of her own, just about preparing herself to hear your aria. And once a number of them have settled, she looks up and says, "And what is it that you will be performing for us, Siegfried? I must say, this is a long-awaited pleasure."
The pleasure's all mine, I can assure you. I'm going to sing one that's not done enough, underappreciated, but a beautiful one. Total Eclipse from Handel's Samson.
She just gives a look that doesn't betray anything, but she does give a look to the rest of her people, as it were, her fellow clan members. And then she sort of just gives a nod, as if she is stating that she is ready.
Sig's posture will like move from the sort of like casual conversation, and then the moment that he gets that nod, it's like that instinct in his head will like flip and like stand up straighter. His posture will be more upwards. His like look will go like out into the house rather than like directly at her. As all things like that are to be performed. And then he'll like can't help but like look one last glance down at like the line of people sitting at the lower stage before he'll turn back up, taking a deep breath. Total eclipse. No sun, no moon, all dark amidst the blaze of noon. Oh, glorious light, no cheering ray to glad my eyes with welcome day. Sun, moon, and stars, sun, moon, and stars are dark to me. Sun, moon, and stars, sun, moon, and stars are dark to me.
I think I speak for everyone that I really fucking wish there was inspiration in this game. Fucking hell, Jeff, that was incredible. And yeah, the reaction is one of definite surprise. definite surprise from all assembled. A lot of them you will have noticed were, yeah, they might have been looking at you with a little bit of doubt in their eyes. Oh, who's this wannabe? And their expressions have changed. The Toreador live for this. They live for the very second, the very moment that they can steal in their nights of darkness to feel something. And that is a gift that you give to all upon this stage tonight. And Lala stands, and her facade is dropped for a moment. And she says, "My dear boy, we've been waiting for you, or someone like you, for some time."
You honor me with your words and your presence. It was a joy to perform for you to be here. If anything, I've been waiting for the likes of you this time, not the other way.
As I understand it, darling, the facade returns. As I understand it, you were having a conversation with one of us. It was Zia that arranged for this evening to take place for you. Did she tell you?
He'll like look down at the other people who have come, and he's like not sure if he's like supposed to like brag that he did, or like just acknowledge it, or like not. So he'll just say, he'll just give a nod, like a deep, almost a bow nod. Say, yes, she discussed it with me.
You will be a witness to the council meeting that will occur in Elysium. I'm glad that this happened tonight, for I am confident that your voice will be heard tomorrow night. Is there anything you would ask of your Primogen?
I kind of think for a moment. He wasn't expecting to be asked that, so he like doesn't have anything like on the tip of his tongue to bring up. And I'll just think for a second. If I'm going to continue, I figured it would be best to become more associated with you, with the clan here. Due to the way that I came into all this, I've been fairly distant. Perhaps a place more amongst you. More station, responsibility, anything.
You shall have it. You shall have quite a lot of responsibility in the nights to come. I am relieved to hear you say this, for it has not escaped any of our notice that you choose irregular company.
Irregular company makes things exciting. Keeps the interest of life going, despite lack of life. There's plenty time to go around for us, for me, for all of everything. Why not enjoy what there is to offer? The good, the bad, the high, the low. Anything can be beautiful if seen through the right artistic view.
Zia has chosen well, and she smiles. I'd like you to make an empathy roll, please. I believe empathy is a thing. Perception and empathy.
Perception and empathy. Okay.
Is it?
I have
Yeah, it
that
is, yes.
Yep, that's exactly right, yeah. Not my strong suit, but Oh, that's not too bad. That's 2.
You notice a flicker of something when she mentions that Zia chose you. But quite what? You don't know.
Yeah, he'll like see that glimmer, but he thinks that now is probably not the time to move into like an interrogation or a questioning about like motives, and good and bad and things like that. So he'll let it slip, um, and kind of let that same posture that he has kind of fall for just a moment as he notices, as if to like subtly say that he saw something without ever like bringing it up. Um, then he'll retain it. So hopefully her choice is proven to be well made. I'm sure we can find some good to come of it.
Yes. Well, for now, I am satisfied. I have other matters to attend to this evening. Come, and she rises, and as she rises, everyone rises with her. She's treated very regally, this lady, much more than the other Primogens you note. It's almost like she's a royalty. She acts that way anyway. And she sort of sweeps to begin walking up the aisle of this place. But she sort of stops and she notices that Cinder isn't moving. Cinder is actually just rooted to the spot. She looks at her, gives her a smile, and keeps walking. As soon, the only 2 people in the auditorium are you and Cinder. Bam! 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 The hinges on the cage are straining now, Donncha. Are there any checks that you would have liked to have made whilst this was going on?
Yes, I would like to try and figure out what kind of vampire this is. So I have both occult and awareness. I don't know which, or investigation. Like if I could see some sort of physical.
Yeah, it would be occult and investigation, sure.
So perception and investigation, or
oh yeah, of course. Sorry, let me have a look.
Or
it's definitely occult. It's definitely occult, but I just need to let's see. Occult and intelligence, please.
Oh, music to my ears. Yes. Dice have gone off the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Okay, that's really good. And from that, it does mean that every vampire that you've encountered and every clan of vampire that you've encountered, you've managed with your eidetic memory to store a little bit of tidbits of information about each kind. You don't forget these things, and you are able to pretty much sum up what kind of vampire, would be standing before you if you had ever seen this kind of vampire before.
Okay, so it's not one of the clans that I've encountered. And I think at this stage I probably would have encountered all of the clans that are like...
all of the Camarilla clans you would have encountered, for sure.
Yeah, so I can safely say that it's not any of those.
Correct. You would have heard, to get this out of the way as well, because this is a technicality, technically the Gangrel aren't part of the Camarilla at this stage. However, from what you've researched of them, it isn't a Gangrel either.
Right, okay. So that makes you think either it's quite ancient and doesn't fit in one of the bloodlines, although maybe they'd be more obviously from a bloodline if they were ancient as opposed to less. Or it's a bloodline that's like not sanctioned.
What is also alarming about this, now that you've been able to look at this creature, remember this creature is like dipping back into the shadows and bam, hitting the cage and then disappearing back into the darkness. So you're only able to catch glimpses here and there. But over time, you've been able to form a picture in your mind. You see that this creature seems almost like a purpley kind of color, not deeply, but like it looks like its skin is kind of bruised and blackened almost, and its eyes are furious and wild, and its teeth are bared.
I wonder, like, will it understand me? I'm trying to remember what it was like when I was in a frenzy. Like, you can't speak or think, right? You just are the beast.
You
So,
are the beast, yes.
so there's no like communicating. So there's no answer from Siegfried. So I will get that text from Toff.
I was about to say yes. Now, I was going to be mean, but you said it in the chat. It's on silent or do not disturb.
So I think that Donncha literally lives his life in do not disturb. I think
Absolutely.
at all times, you know.
Now, does that mean the message would not come through, or it just wouldn't make a sound?
It just doesn't make a sound. So I think like he would like check to see every now and then if Siegfried had replied, and seeing nothing, or like worse, seeing like a red receipt but no response.
Of course.
What the fuck is this? But then we'll see one from Toff and think like, do I want to bring Toff here? Is that smart? Like, he's good in a fight, but he's kind of dumb and he makes lots of noise. So do I want to bring him here? I don't know. But he will send a text to Toff saying he won't send Toff a location pin because Toff won't know how to use it because he's an idiot. So he's going to give he's like technophobic. So he's going to give him the address instead. Which I think Donncha would know. So like down by the docks in this building or whatever. Yeah. Bring 3 bags of blood and make it immediate. And then he'll send that to Toff.
Okay. Yeah, well, the thing is, Toff has been in London a while, so he would know where this location is, and we might as well just jump straight to Toff. Then you receive, almost to your surprise, a response from Donncha with an address and a demand for 3 bags of blood immediately. This rings alarm bells.
Yeah, Toff has no idea why he's asking for that. He writes back, what? With like exclamation point, question mark, but not in the order that you would expect it to be. And he's not going to fix it because he's like, that's not right. And he goes, they're dead. They're all dead. And you want 3 bags of blood? And then he's thinking to himself, where is he going to get 3 bags of blood?
So I'll send another text immediately saying,
yeah, because Donncha probably realized, wait a second, Toff isn't going to know what.
He'll say, danger. I'm in danger. Need you here. Go to this location. Tell him Donncha sent you because I have a blood guy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I'll send that, and I'll say, fast, so fast.
Right. I think Toff he wouldn't even think at that point. He just hits K, sends it, and he leaves the door to Sig's apartment wide open as he runs out to first the blood guy. And it's probably, if you were to fast forward to that, it's just like, give me the blood. Don't ask any questions. And the minute he has that, and once he hears that Don's in trouble, he's already lost enough tonight. He's not losing another.
So then, knowing that he's coming, or assuming that he's coming, I'm going to make sure that I am outside, so I thought he doesn't just like burst into the warehouse, which he very much might do. So I'll go outside and like keep a watch for him. And I imagine what I would see is like the sort of like on overlay, like the speed at which he moves with celerity. So I'm just like looking for like a blur to approach.
Yeah, that's really rad. And I'm just going to say that time will have passed to the point that if you like, we can just jump straight to that moment. If you like, Donncha, you see with your, well, you're very good at spotting things. Essentially, you see that there is as air distorts with the speed of Toff. Toff, talk about you getting to this destination. How will you be arriving?
So I imagine because Don is such a planner, he would like literally tell Toff like a specific location that he could see, so that when Toff gets there, he kind of stops and he's kind of looking around and he's kind of gripping this probably this nondescript sack that within are these packets of blood, and so he's looking. And then he looks at his phone, frustrated. He's like, "The hell is he?" And he starts to type out. He's got the bag under his arm, and he starts trying to type out, "Where are you?" And he's looking for danger, and he doesn't see anything. It's like, I imagine it's a quiet London evening on down by the docks. Off in the distance you can hear the city, but he's kind of like doesn't see anything. What's going on? Is he too late?
Yeah, Donncha will coalesce out of a shadow, I guess, or drop down from the roof or wherever he is. Hey, I know you have an issue, a problem, and we will deal with it, but there's something in here, and I think if we don't deal with it right now, there'll be trouble.
Toff kind of bites his tongue, both figuratively and literally, because he just wants to just blurt out what has happened. But when he sees the look on Donncha's face, he just gives him a nod and tosses him the bag. And I guess as we start to move forward, he's like, "What is it?"
There's a vampire in here. I've never seen a vampire like him. I don't know what he is. And he's frenzying. If I give him the blood, he might be able to calm. We can speak to him. He's locked in a cage.
If he's frenzying, I'm gonna have to be really careful. I probably should have brought more blood. And I think as they're walking in, I think Toff would be looking for anything that is fairly strong that he could bludgeon this thing with if he needs be, but he would use his hands if.
Rob, was the cage was it bars on top as well, or was it like a shipping container with bars on the one end?
Yeah, so there are cages on top of it, and it would seem that it's like a metal shipping crate, but the door is caged, so you can see into it.
Okay, so then what I will do is I'll take the blood and I will move to the corner of the shipping crate, and then I'm just going to fling it around so it goes in through the bars and splats in there. Hopefully without stepping in front of. Do you know what I mean? Is that making sense? Yeah.
Yeah, you're just got to whip it around the side. You got to blind fire it.
Yeah.
Just like that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you do so. No check required. It's very easy. You just fling it in through the bars, and there's a dull, and then there's silence for a second, and then the most horrendous roaring and sort of snarls just come blasting out of these bars, out of the darkness, as this thing just savages the blood bag. You see wet bits of red plastic just flying out of the bars.
Then I'll send in the next one, and when a similar thing happens, I imagine I'll send in the third.
Yeah, it's pretty awful, these sounds, and the same thing, you're right, absolutely happens. These bags are shredded, and it's almost as if this thing is trying to get at every last drop. But you know for a fact that when you're in that state, when you're really hungry, bags of blood, they sustain you, but it isn't satisfying. And this thing is going nuts. It's just you can hear it just smashing against the sides of this container now.
So
you should have told me what it was. And I think Toff, realizing that, he's in his time has unfortunately given into the beast of frenzy. And he says, "I don't think that's going to do it. I should have." And he kind of pauses because he doesn't want. I should have brought someone.
I thought about that too, but we can't really just feed a person to this. It wouldn't even be. He would kill the person. It wouldn't.
Yeah, and Toff is agreeing with you. He's nodding. Goes, "I don't know how long is it a he? Can he peer in and see? Yeah, I don't know how long he's been like that, but
it looks like I'll give you this point of information. As you're about to say that, there is a bam as once again this vampire slams against the bars, but this time it holds on, and you can see that in its hands the bars are starting to shift as it just presses all of its might into it, and you can see that the frame of this thing is sort of perishing. And as it's doing this, you can get a good, clear look. It's emaciated. This thing looks like it's been starved. And it's strong, but obviously not quite strong enough to get through quickly. But you know that time is running out.
Does it look familiar to Toff at all? Is it someone that maybe he had crossed paths with at one point?
You would not have recognized this creature, although your vampiric instincts. Actually, no. You know what? I'm gonna have to make you roll. Why don't you give me an occult and knowledge roll, Toff?
So wits and
intelligence. Sorry, intelligence.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Just one success.
No, like Donncha, you're not really certain what this is.
I think Toff, as this thing's thrashing against the bars and then presses up against it, I think he puts a almost like a defensive hand up. Not that Donncha really needs it, but that he's almost back to very early when they were newlings, and he puts a hand on Donncha and he says, "You better be ready to run." I don't.
The blood should calm him. It should bring him back.
Did he happen to see anyone at the latter end of his journey here?
No word of note. You do notice that since having the blood bags, it appears to be sort of slowing down a bit. The attempts to smash against the the bars are getting less and less regular. But you probably would both know from experience, or at least research that you've done, that when you frenzy, like, it takes a while to come down from that point. So
maybe Toff having so there's those, you can have those moments of clarity in a frenzy. So Toff would, after saying that to Donncha, return to this creature, this tortured creature. He'd say, "Don't worry, it's okay. We're gonna take care of you. Just try to relax." And he kind of puts his hands up. And he's kind of, what he's really doing, he's taking a little step forward. And he's actually interposing himself between the bars and this vampire and Donncha.
You are absolutely right. You do get moments of clarity when in a frenzy. And for a second, when this vampire slams against the bars once again, you see the eyes just become slightly less wild. And a guttural, growling voice just says, "Feed me."
Yeah, we're gonna feed you, but we just need you to calm down a little bit first. We will take care of him, right, Don?
That's right. I'm gonna take care of you. You just need to calm.
Bam! He slams into the bars once again. Bam! You see the hinges buckling.
I'm gonna text my blood guy and see if he will deliver it for a lot of money. I'll say that I'll pay him £1,500 if he brings me 8 blood bags to this location. Right now.
Yep, the message is sent.
Okay, then I'm gonna look and see at these hinges if there's a way that I can reinforce them somehow. If I could get like a pole or something and like place it at the top or something so that it'll hold just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Does it look like? Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, sorry. You can ask. Go right ahead, Lionel. You ask first, so I can answer.
I was gonna say, does it look like something that Toff could hold the door? I mean, is it a barred cage, or is it just like barred through a window?
It's barred.
Oh yeah, forget that, man. I'm not getting anywhere near those bars.
Yeah, you could reach through, like, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. To reinforce these, you notice that this warehouse itself, other than the cages, there isn't much going for it that you could use. However, you do notice that there is what appears to be some kind of construction office that a lot of warehouses have.
We have to find a way to keep him in there just a little bit longer. If we can feed him and calm him, then we can talk to him. If he gets out now, we're going to have to fight him. And I don't want to do that. And you don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think it's at that moment that when you ask that question that Toff is realizing that Sig is nowhere to be seen, and you guys are usually always together. And I think he was about to ask that question when you say that. So he looks at the cage and then back at you, Don, and he says, "See if you could find something. I'll stay here just in case he gets out. I'll try to hold him."
Is there?
And there's probably Toff's usually pretty confident of himself, but you can pick up that there's a bit there that the try is really straight, like try to hold him.
Is there another container nearby, like on its own, that between me and Toff might be able to move in front of this one?
Yeah, well, there are large steel containers all around. So if the both of you work together, you could probably lift something that size with a check.
To keep him in there a little longer until he calms down. Yeah, I'll say that to Toff. Help me with this, and I guess it's like a container nearby that we together might be able to like and drag across.
Yeah, so I would like you both to make strength and athletics. Actually, would it be athletics? Let's see. Yeah, let's just go with strength and athletics. And we'll combine your successes.
What's the story with blood points? I think I could spend a blood point to
Get
an extra potence.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you can. It's an automatic.
You can increase a dot on one of your abilities for the rest of this scene.
Okay.
The automatic success is a willpower point, not a blood point, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
It gives you another die to use. Yeah.
I'm gonna do the exact same. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use a blood point to give me an extra die.
Oh man.
Ooh.
It's real good.
I'm glad your answer was really good because even with all these dice, I have only 2 successes. That's terrible. Over 10 dice, and I can't get any more than 2.
I got 7.
Nice.
That's excellent work. Yeah, Toff, it's like, when you two of you are trying to carry something and one of you always has to hold the awkward bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, or it's something sharp or something that digs into your fingers. You've got that end, we'll just say. But you're able to fairly easily actually lift one of these containers up and just shove it in front of the bars. And you notice that whilst you're doing that, you see the hinges.
Yeah, so once it's in there, I guess the two of us will go around and lean on the other side of it, and then sit. Donncha will sit, and he's going to take out a smoke and light it, and say, "I hope that the blood guy gets here soon."
I imagine there's this boom as a thing hits it and it shakes it, and we're looking at each other. Toff puts out a hand for a cigarette as well. And I imagine they're just both sitting there smoking. So even though Toff has had quite a horrendous night, maybe it's nice to have a little bit of a distraction. So he takes a drag, and then he goes, "Where's Sig? Is he okay?"
He's with the Toreadors.
At that, we move back to the Royal Opera House. Cinder has walked up onto the stage to meet you, and she says, "You did really well."
Thank you. Glad you can make it.
I'm sorry I haven't been in touch. The last 6 months have been, well, they've been complicated.
Things have a way of being complicated for our kind, it seems. I've had my fair share of things to keep up with.
She kisses you.
Yeah, there'll be that moment, like when you're not expecting something like that to happen, where it just like kind of almost go to like pull back away, um, uh, like confused and surprised by it. Um, but then after that like brief moment of surprise, um, he'll return the kiss, uh, before then taking like a step back.
It's almost right at the point where the kiss is going to reach its apex, and then she stops and pulls away. Sig, there's something I need to tell you. I really shouldn't be. It may cost me significantly. But I feel it's only fair that you know what you're walking into. And that is where we're going to take a short break, where we're going to grab a drink, chill out for a second, and then we'll be back in about 5 minutes. For those watching now and after that, thank you very much for watching. This is Vampire the Masquerade London, and we will be returning in a moment. Cheers. I'm back. So, Jeff, let's talk about the song, because we will talk about this obviously when we give our experience. But is that a song you've known long? Did you learn this specifically for this?
It's a song that's been in my book for a while that I kind of have been on and off working on. depending on kind of like what I'm like involved with or auditioning for at the time. But I hadn't done it in a while. But it seemed like of all the stuff that I have like on hand that I can like do well enough, it seemed like the thing that would fit best for this. So I pulled it back out and kind of tried to work it up a little bit.
Dude, it was absolutely wonderful. I loved it. I was going to jokingly say when we were I was about to say, now, of course, Jeff, you can sing the aria if you want, but I will need a performance role. But no, you just took your headphones off, moved the mic, boom. And I was like, okay. That was just,
Yeah.
oh, that was wonderful, man.
Yeah, really, I was so nervous for that. But yeah,
Dude,
once you brought it up as like not only just like a moment, but like a scene thing, I was like, I have to actually do it. Like, I'm not as good as Siegfried is in character, but I like, it's a song that I know that I can sing. Like, I should just do it. So I just did it.
Man. And you went for it as well. Like that's just the most admirable thing as well. It's just like, oh my god, you just went for it, man. I just absolutely adored it. Absolutely adored it.
Thank you. I'm glad it played well. Stuff like that always has that slight risk of like, oh well, if it bombs, and that's like the most disappointing part of the session.
No, man, I think it was wonderful. Oh, we lost Lloyd, but now he's back.
Yes. Hello.
Actually, Jeff, it was a pleasant surprise.
Wonderful.
I'm so glad that you actually did sing it rather than just doing what I would have done, which has been. So is that a performance role, Rob?
Well, I was just saying to Jeff, I was going to make a joke and say, now, of course, Jeff, you can sing it if you want. And he just went out and sung it. So I was like, all right, there we go. That was great.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're all back. So let's return. We're going to return back to the opera house. You and Cinder are sort of walking through the wing. She's told you that, you need to leave at this point because someone eventually is going to come and shut this place down. So you're walking through the wings, and she says, before I say anything, I'm going to need you to promise that this remains between you and I.
Yeah, Sig's eyes are just kind of like wandering like around like through the wings and like the side stage area. He's not like being like actively rude, but just moderately sort of cold towards the whole situation, given the last couple months. But then when she says that, he'll just turn and look at her and say, I have no reason to tell anybody, presumably.
But that's the thing, Siegfried. As soon as I tell you what it is, you will.
Okay, yeah, I promise. I won't tell anybody.
Zia is going to be making a move for leadership. She's going to be ousting Lala.
Interesting. Why? Just because she wants the power, or is there something that she wants?
She is already an Archon. She has power, but she needs influence over the entirety of her clan, so she says. The role isn't mutually exclusive. Not always.
So I presume you're telling me this for a reason. What do you want me to do with this?
I need you to pick the right side.
And which side is that?
Zia's.
He'll kind of think for a moment, like he doesn't know exactly how to respond. So just let this happen, whatever it is that she's going to do. If I actively try to help, what'll happen to me? It seems like it would put me in danger, I guess, unless she wins. I don't know how this works.
You just asked for influence. You asked for more of a deciding role within our society. You won't get that with her. With Lala.
She does seem to have her ways and stick to them. But under Zia, you're saying things will be different. She has different plans.
Zia and Lala are very different. Whereas Zia uses her love of the art of life and the dance, as she calls it. Lala, well, she just wallows in it. She's paralyzed by it. It is the sorry fate of many of our kind. Some become so hungry for it, they yearn for it so much, that's all they can do, and then they lose sight of everything else. She's meant to be our leader.
I always did feel like Lala had it sort of wrong. So many people, I guess, are kind, but also people in general. They see art, the pristine art, the clean, perfect art, and think that that's the highest art that there is. It's never felt right to me. The best art isn't clean, it isn't perfect, it's reckless, it's unabashed. So, if helping to depose Lala or keep her in power are the two choices, perhaps some recklessness is fitting.
I'm glad you think so. She looks around and says, I have to be somewhere in a little while, but we should talk again. You're going to be attending this meeting tomorrow. I shall be there also.
Yeah, Sig will power his phone back on and see what I assume is probably like 8 more messages
Yes.
from Don. And I'll look and say, I have to be somewhere now, as it turns out. But yes, I'm sure I'll see you then.
She kisses you once again and then looks into your eyes and says, and remember, not a word to anyone. And she glances at your phone.
Of course, this is other business, he'll say. Um, and then he'll do that thing where he'll like wait for her to like leave and pretend to like stay calm and like not do anything. And then once she's like out of sight, he'll just like immediately burst into full celerity sprint to try to get to where Donncha's location pinpoint is.
Yeah, gone. Incredible. We return back to the warehouse. Boom! You hear the dull thud of this creature smashing against now the side of the new container you've put in the way. You seem to think, Donncha and Toff, that the strength, or rather the ferocity of the impact is lessening.
Have I heard from Blood Boy?
Yes, you absolutely have. He will be arriving. That's great. Let's just say now. You hear a of a car honking its horn outside.
I'll give Toff a quick look. Don't do anything. And And then as I'm like walking outside, I'll like activate my mask from my like fake identity, which I use to interact with people. And I'll go outside and like immediately like open the car door.
Yeah. Ollie, your blood boy has arrived. He is a. Is he? What do you reckon he is? Is he just a contact of yours? So he would be.
Yeah, I think he's like an EMT or something that I've like cultivated a relationship with, where he doesn't ask any questions. I pay him like way too much money for bags of blood,
Okay.
and he's just like fine with that. Most
Is he
of
a
the time.
vampire?
No, he's a person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, yeah, he probably like works in the hospital, maybe. Or
Yeah.
something like that. Or he has a setup with the hospital.
Yeah, something like that.
He doesn't ask questions. He just goes, "Right, mate," and he just sort of like hands you what looks to be like a supermarket bag, and inside there are just like, how many did you ask for? 8 or
8, yeah.
yeah, 8 ripe, full to the brim blood bags. They almost feel warm to the touch.
Excellent. I was just going to ask, did he microwave them before he came here? Which apparently he did, which is good. I will take out my like second phone, which is my human phone, and I'll like revolute him £1,500 straight away, and I'll be like, "Thanks, Ollie. Have a good one."
Yeah, he just gives you a wink as he checks his phone to see if the balance has gone in, and it has, and then he drives off.
Yep, no questions. That's why I like him. So I'll leg it back inside now with this like sopping, gross bag full of blood. It's probably like quite heavy, I imagine. It's like 8 liters of blood, I imagine. It's like a full person worth. And so I'll go inside and like look at Toff, and I'll say, "All right, here's the situation. You're gonna have to pull it open a little bit. I'm just gonna like fling the bag in there, and then we're gonna push it back closed again."
Yeah, Toff just gives a nod. Poor Sig. Hasn't Sig shown up yet? No, he hasn't shown up yet.
No, not yet.
Okay, good, because he'd be like, "What the hell are you guys doing right now?" Yeah. So, So what he would do is he would just push the corner just enough to like create that little bit of a wedge, so that Don can like chuck those things in. And I would be like, "You don't even have to throw him hard enough to break. I think you'll break him."
Yeah, for sure. And it's a good plan. So I'm not going to make you. We already know you can move the containers. I'm just going to say that you're able to do it. You're able to hoik more blood into this place, and you hear the ravenous savaging of these bags sort of exploding upon impact as you shove this container back.
So I'm hoping that like he's just gonna like gorge himself on all this blood, and then have that sort of like fullness that you get when you've like eaten way too much, like you've ordered too much takeaway, and you just like sit like sort of. I'm hoping that like that comes over him. So I'm just gonna. I guess we'll just wait for a few minutes while he like destroys all that blood.
Is there? Okay, that's fine. You have a little while left. Now that you no longer have to be sort of focused on, because you do notice that the after a while, like the impacts become less and less, and then eventually slow to a stop. You think it might be good to leave it a little bit longer, just in case, just to make sure. But there doesn't really seem to be any more danger of him breaking free. You can explore the rest of the warehouse now. Now that you don't have to focus on that, but that's just an option.
Yeah, like my concern would be that there are other life forms in some of these other shipping containers, particularly if they're also vampires. And Donncha's trying to piece together what happened, like how the tracks led him here. Like, did this vampire lock himself in there in a sort of state, or was he locked in there? How did that happen? Like, he's got lots of questions sort of like as to how he's been led here. So once it seems like this thing is not going to break out and tear us to pieces, he would start looking around and so the other containers and see if there's other living things.
And whilst you make an investigation and in perception, let's see, not investigation, perception. I don't mean that, or do I?
Those would be the appropriate knowledge and mental, yes. I think.
Perception, investigation. And whilst you do that, Toff, what are you going to be doing?
I think that Toff is kind of following along with Donncha, and what Donncha would notice that Toff is very uncharacteristically more chatty than usual. Like he's like, so Sig is okay. What the hell are you doing? Going off on yourself, with Tess it's just kind of this rambling, with Tess being gone and everything, I feel like it's one of these things where he's probably very irritating to Donncha, not intending to be, but it's just his worry, that like mother hen kind of bit of him that he's feeling right now. He's like, you can't be doing all this stuff, Donncha. I know that I fucked up, but what happens if I couldn't have come? What happens if you had Sig here with you? I don't worry about you so much, but Sig.
Listen, Toff, you lost all rights to tell me what to do and how I can do it a long time ago.
I know that.
I appreciate
Donncha.
that you've come here, and I'm glad that you have come to help me. And I understand that you've got something going on, and we will get to that. But currently, he like looks around this like insane warehouse, and maybe like there's another. This is not.
It's probably like it's probably like one of those moments where he grabs you roughly, and he just spins you around so that you're more face to face, and he says, "No, I don't think you really know how bad things are right now, Donncha."
Definitely.
And then I don't know if we hear another noise or something, but that's up to you if we do or not. If not, then I think he would realize that's not what he wants to do. He wants Donncha. He's one of his few allies that he feels he can trust, despite the fact that Donncha doesn't feel that way. Rightly so. But he lets him go. And he goes, "Now's not the time, but shit is going down. And I just need you. You have skills that I do not understand in this world now."
Donncha looks down at like the suit, the expensive suit that he's wearing, and how like Toff has like grabbed it and probably like put blood all over it.
It's ripped. It's like the shoulder where it meets the sleeve is like
Just like looks down at that and then back at Toff. Listen, we can talk about it. Whatever your issue is, whatever is causing you to act like this, we can talk about it. Currently, the vampire over there that we don't know what even clan he's from. You have to do one thing at a time.
I think right when he says that, Toff says one word to you, Donncha. He says, "Ripper." Knowing that Don would totally get that meeting with just that one word.
Yeah, I think he probably frowns because he hasn't heard much about Ripper in a long time, probably.
I'm trying to remember.
I think the last time that we heard was like a long time ago.
It was. I think it was down in where the Nos hang, right? Undertown or wherever it's called.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to remember if Donncha ever met Sid.
I don't think so.
No, he was I believe he was the primogen of the
Bruja.
of the Bruja, and so once he sees that look on Donncha's face, maybe he goes, "You never met the primogen of the Bruja. He was my sire. His name was Sid Day. Ripper got him." And you would see this nervous look on Toff's face, and he said, "Not only that, my band," and he corrects himself, "my ex-bandmates got them." Well, he doesn't mean it in the same way, but he got them too. And it's like Toff. He's almost like that teenage kid, in a way that once Don has kind of given him the green light to say what he wants to say, he just comes all blurting out, "The Ripper, he got Sid, and not only that," and he goes into the details, Don, of how he couldn't save his bandmates.
Don doesn't know he doesn't have a sire, but he has one somewhere, but he doesn't know this person. So he doesn't know if like the sire relationship is like a family. He doesn't really understand that. But he thinks it might be, and so he says, sorry. That's a lot to process and figure out why Sid, why your band. It's personal to you. Why?
No, not that Toff plays a lot of chess, but he probably has played a game or two. If you knew Toff before he became Toff, he goes, Don, it's as though we're all on a chessboard and a lot of pieces are moving, but the other player is hiding his moves from us. We have to figure this out, and we have to make sure that Sig is okay.
At those words, we return to Siegfried moving fluidly through the landscape of London. London is a city that never sleeps, and people are on its pavements, sidewalks, at every given hour of the day and night. And you weave your way through roads and alleyways in your, on your way to reach Donncha and Toff's location. It seems like everything moves slowly around you when you are in celerity. You're moving through the people, the traffic, and something out of the corner of your eye catches your attention, and it's on the verge of being a precognitive reaction almost. You see that weaving through the streets at an alarming rate is a black vehicle. It is a large security van, the kind that private security teams would use to take cash out of till registers and things like that. This truck is veering wildly around the corner, and you look in horror as this vehicle plows into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people upon the side of the road. It smashes messily into a building. The windscreen cracks immediately. In horror, as you pass by, you see the back doors of this truck just swing open as if automated. They're magnetically locked for security purposes. And from out of the back of this truck, 6 figures just bolt. Animalistic, with wild-looking eyes and purplish complexions. They hit the pavement and immediately dart towards the nearest human being and start savaging them in the street. Teeth into throats, claws into eyes, ripping and breaking them. There is a scream as the entire street just goes into chaos. Cars just handbrake turn and crash into each other as one of these individuals just seizes a motorbike, its rider still abreast of it, on top of it, and just hurls it into a car. Siegfried, what are you doing?
Yeah, Siegfried will slow for what to him feels like forever, but in reality, time is probably just like a fraction of a second with the speed that he's moving and thinking in at the moment. But he'll just see it, and then seeing that there's 6 of them, he'll just keep on going. Pull his phone out and try to keep his eyes up to keep running, and also send a text to Don, just completely ignoring the 9 previous text messages, and just say on the way, but holy shit, and then that's it. He doesn't have time to explain further. Yeah, I think that what that Lionel says in the chat is probably a good point. That he would try to like as quick as he possibly could. He probably wouldn't be able to get like a good quality photo, but to like just like flip the side, like swipe on his phone so that it brings up the camera and try to like snap a picture before like bolting back off at a blur speed, trying to get away. He's not gonna deal with this at all right now, not by himself.
Well, you snap a picture, and at that point, I would like you to make an awareness and perception roll, please.
Hmm. Okay, that's really bad. 0.
You don't see it coming. You did say that you were bolting, however, so it doesn't get you. But you see one of these frenzied vampires just come out of nowhere and land nearby. But as you were at full speed, it doesn't get you. But it starts giving chase. It's nowhere near as fast as you, I will point out.
Yeah, he'll just leave it in the dust. I think he'll probably end up like jumping as it like leaps for him to try to get away. Then like sliding against the wall of like whatever the nearest building is before like making his way back onto the central part of the sidewalk. Um, and at this point, I think he's not even going to worry about trying to maintain some level of like, well, I want to run fast, but not so fast that people think it's weird. Like at this stage, I think that that's enough of a distraction that there's 6 savagely chaotic monsters wreaking havoc that he'll just like whatever maximum speed he can physically run is what he's going to run, both to not get caught and to get to the others as soon as he physically can.
Yeah, and as you continue to move, you hear the first sounds of sirens beginning to blare across the streets as you dread to think about what's going on back where you just were. Donncha, you receive a text saying 6 vamps killing people in the street.
I just don't know how to deal with it. It's like insane. Can't happen. The Camarilla are so careful with this stuff. It's like not possible that could happen. They control like everything so strictly. It seems insane that could even be a possibility. But I think that like I don't know. There's no point in me like going towards Sig because he's so much faster than me. So I'll tell Toff that, and then I'm gonna try and like enough to speak to this vampire.
Yeah, you're absolutely able to do so. You're able to make a gap so you can speak through, I guess.
Hello?
From the darkness, you just hear a voice. I'm still so hungry. I'm still so hungry.
That's all there is for now. You have to answer some questions before I let you out. I think you might be a danger to yourself.
What am I?
Oh.
What am I?
You're a vampire.
The darkness is silent.
How did you end up in this cage?
I was... Feels like a lifetime ago. I was on my own. I was running, jogging, trying to get fit for the wedding.
Right.
Where's Stacy?
I don't know who that is.
Where's Stacy? Like he screams and you hear a boom as he slams into the part of the crate.
I understand that you're probably going through a lot of confusion and that you probably feel a lot of things that are unusual to you. That's normal. That's to be expected. But you are dead.
If I'm dead, then why do I feel like this?
You're a vampire. You'll be hungry all the time.
Who is he? That thing, what is he?
What thing?
The one who brought me here.
I don't know. What did he look like?
He just looked normal.
Donncha sort of thinks, nice and specific. That's good. Did they capture you?
I think so.
Were you in a lab?
There is a place that he took me once. Over there. And he sort of like makes a jerking motion to the construction office at the side of the warehouse.
Okay. I can't let you out of here, because if I do, you're going to kill people. And you're not a killer.
I don't know what I am.
I know. It's confusing. I went through it as well.
There's something different about this man's voice. He is recently well, no. He is a young vampire in comparison to
Embraced.
you know, yeah. But there's something about his voice. It's almost as if there's like many, many layers to the way he speaks. There's always sort of like an aggressive kind of like tone beneath everything he says, even though he appears calm.
I'm going to go look in the office. You're going to stay here. I'm going to look after you, friend. It's going to be all right. I know what this is like. I'm a vampire too.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. It's all right. Just sit and try and sleep.
And there's just quiet in the dark.
I'm going to close the thing again. I'll just like fill Toff in case he didn't hear. But you know, this guy does not know he's a vampire, or what he is unclear. But he seems to hunger for blood in the way that we do, and he's dead in the way that we are. But he doesn't remember anything about how he became a vampire, or if he even is a vampire. But we're going to have to look in this office.
I think Toff, the whole time you're telling him that, he's just looking at this crate that this newly turned vampire is in. Even though he can't see him, he just slowly nods. You think I should stay here? Do you think it's safe? Just don't want him getting out. And then he looks up to the sky, trying to judge, because Toff doesn't wear a watch. He's trying to judge like what time it might be.
I think at this time it will probably be like the opera would have finished just before midnight, so another hour. So probably like 1:30, 2 a.m.
Oh, plenty of time then. Yeah. Maybe he would come in at Toff would have kind of walked up at the tail end of that conversation. And I think we should just let him go.
No, he'll kill people.
What do you mean he'll kill people?
He has no idea what he is, what any of it is. He'll go out there and he'll feed on someone, and then the Camarilla will stake him.
Not if we help him.
Yeah. We should find out what's in this office first. We can't leave him here.
Again, I think Toff would slowly nod, agreeing with Donncha. But there'd probably be that moment as they're walking to the office. He would kind of just walking a little bit slower, and he'd stop and he'd look back over his shoulder at where this vampire is held. And then he would enter the office with Dawn.
What you see, it's almost as if you were stepping back as you step into this office. Frankly, the materials, well, it's almost Victorian. Not actually Victorian, but the fact that there's an operating table but with wrist restraints, the fact that there are strange bottles filled with murky, dirty blood, the fact that there are stains across the tiles of this room, horrendous stains. The smell is awful. You can see crude surgeon tools and a bloody instrument tray next to the table.
I think Toff puts his hand up to his face and he's like, "The fuck is this place?"
I don't know. Donncha will take out his phone and take pictures of every small part of this place. And then he will see if there's like smaller containers or vials that he can take some of the blood from the bigger piles of goop, or like scrape bits off the wall or off the table, basically gathering as much shit from here that he can bring it to someone who might know something.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're able to take a solid forensic detail of the area, particularly in this room. And whilst you're doing that, and whilst you behold this terrible sight, Siegfried, you can arrive if you were still coming here, or were you going to stop? You just tell me what you were doing.
Yeah, Sig will just go straight to whatever, because Don dropped a pinpoint for him, and he would just go straight exactly to that point.
In that case, then that can be when you arrive. You can arrive at the warehouse if you choose just to go straight in, but you can, if you like, discover Donncha and Toff.
Yeah, I think at this stage the idea of stealth is beyond Sig's current mind state. So he'll just like see this is the place that Don sent, and he'll just go in, like that he won't have any sort of reservations about trying to like sneak or call or ask. He just wants to like get to them as soon as possible, to tell them what the hell has happened on his end. Imagine the doors will like creak open, and like in a flash, Sig is like up whatever stairs and across whatever like walkway that there is once he sees you guys. And it'll just like appear from a blur.
I think there's a sense of
And he'll just have this like stunned look on his face of like, holy shit.
I think there's a sense of relief on Toff's face when he sees Sig. Despite the befouled office that he's in, he smiles at him, and he says, "By all means, lend a hand. Enjoy the smell."
Guys, it's fucking chaos out there. I don't know what's happening. There's a truck that just slammed into a building. Vampires came pouring out of it. They look like they're in a haze, like we were then.
I think Toff.
They're tearing people apart out there.
There's a vampire here, locked in a shipping container. He's throwing himself against the bars, probably for hours before I got here. We fed him, and he's calmed down a little, but he's no idea that he's a vampire. He looks sickly purple.
What? That's, and he'll like Sig will like pull up his phone and he'll like airdrop you the photo or whatever, and then just like show you while he's waiting for it to load, just so because he knows that you'll want the documentation, but he doesn't want to like wait to like send it. He'll just like show you the picture of like a purplish vampire in frenzy, like tearing somebody's arm off or whatever that they're in the process of doing.
It's not a clan that I recognize. I think it might be an experiment. He like looks around the place here and like wonders if it's even possible to like synthesize vampire blood, or like there's magic involved in it and he knows that, so he's kind of like not so sure, but it seems like someone has done something or made them.
Yeah, I think that the Sig will like notice when like all the tools and everything for the first time, like when you point it out. I'll like look down. He'll just he doesn't know what to say. He'll just like be at a total loss for words. And like look at the supplies, but like not know what to do.
We can't linger here. Let's get all the evidence that we can. Take this poor soul with us and get somewhere safe. I would want to speak to. And he thinks for a second, doesn't even know, because Feig isn't going to have a clue about this sort of stuff. Like it's. So he would think like maybe Vincent might know because it's magic, but then I don't know if you want to tell him. Don't really trust him. And so he doesn't really know who to tell about this, and he thinks he might be able to score major points at the Camarilla. So maybe it's worth talking to them about it. So this is all like going through his head. He's like trying to figure out like what's the best outcome with this information.
Yeah, is that something you share with the rest of us, Donncha?
Yeah, he'd be kind of like monologuing it. Yeah.
Okay. And I think that's probably the first time that I think Toff would shake his head. He's like, that's probably one of the worst ideas. We don't know who's doing this, who's behind this. Could be someone in the Camarilla. We could be taking it right to the people that are doing this damn experiments.
This is so amateur. There's no way that they would do this. Look at this office. There's nobody even here protecting it or guarding it. We just walked in. There's no way the Camarilla would be this clumsy.
Not to mention there's 6 of them in the streets. I'm talking real human people seeing them and getting torn limb from limb. If it's not on the news already, it's going to be soon. Like, this is
globally
bad.
Did you see who was driving the van, Sig?
So my assumption was that like they all got out of the van, so that the driver was frenzied too. Maybe like went frenzied while he was driving, but maybe that's not correct.
Yeah, I think Toff is frustrated, not because of that, but Sig wouldn't know. He just punches a wall, and he says, "You didn't even see who was fucking driving the van."
Oh, so you would have fought through 6 fucking frenzied vampires to check, huh?
All right,
real
enough.
Smart.
Enough. This is not helpful.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's like seething because you're right. He wouldn't have, but he doesn't want to admit it. He's like, and then it's probably like a welcome thing that Don is the voice of reason, and he looks and kind of gives a look to Sig like, "You're lucky Don just saved you."
Let's put our dicks away and try and figure out what's happening.
You're right, Don.
It's entirely possible that they were transporting these things. They have this one in a shipping container. It's possible that they were being transported in the back of that truck and something went wrong. But who's doing it is a total mystery, and we have no idea. And I think that this breach of the masquerade is something that the Camarilla wouldn't allow. And if anyone's going to be able to get on top of this situation, it's them. And it's possible that we could score major points with them by bringing them this information first.
There's someone I could talk to, maybe. I don't know if you would like it.
Who?
The Archon. I was just talking to her.
Huh. Well, she's the Camarilla, right? She's part of it. High up.
Yeah, she'd be like an enforcer, right? Aren't Archons like enforcers for the different clans?
I think they're like judges and stuff, right? They like
they're pretty
like
bad
impartial.
at like guardians and whatnot.
Yeah, what you know about the Archon is only what she's really said, and that is that Archons operate under the command of a sort of internal organization of the Camarilla known as the Justicars. They're there to maintain sort of continuity throughout all Camarilla operations, all domains across the entire world. They are the ones that basically keep everyone in check. and the archons are their enforcers.
So, I mean, in terms of
Oh.
like hierarchy, does she outrank like Mr. G, or like yes and no, right? Because she's not like in the structure; she's outside of it. Okay.
Mhm.
Huh. So I just wonder, like, who's the highest ranking Camarilla person in London? It's Queen Anne, isn't it? But like, I'm gonna get to talk to her. Maybe the sheriff is a good person to talk to, but I don't know if he can speak. He just seems to kill. So he's just like talking out loud this whole time, like trying to figure out like what the best thing is.
Yeah, and I guess as Don's trying to do that, Toff would just step up closer to Sig and do you think you can trust her? I don't know her very well. we tended to not run in the same circles.
She's put some small, I mean, some very small, I can't overstate that, but some amount of fragment of trust in me. She asked me to go to this meeting tomorrow with the clans. If there's anybody that I would trust talking to her, it would be her. Definitely her over G or whatever. But maybe I'm the crazy one.
And I think Toff listens to you and he's kind of like nodding his head to acknowledge that he's weighing every word. And he says, our list of people we can trust is getting shorter and shorter. He shoots a quick look to Don because he knows he's on that list of people. He's not on that list of people that Don can trust, even Sig for that matter. So he moves quickly past it and he's like, if you think you can trust her, Sig, then I trust you.
I don't know how much we can trust her, but out of all the options that we have, she's the one that I don't distrust as much.
We can trust Fag, but he won't know anything about this, I think. But if we're going to take this guy out of here, then Down Street's a good place to keep him, I think, if anywhere. Not like Fag won't be able to deal with him. There's plenty of scary Nosferatu down there who can keep him in check. It's also a place that doesn't attract a lot of attention. So maybe that's the best place to bring him. And then we can see about who to go to.
Toff is so conflicted as he hears that because the last thing he wants to see is another vampire suffer, especially when one has not chosen the path that he is set upon. But there's another part of him that says that this thing isn't, and that's just, I think, probably his age versus Don and Sig's age coming out. And he's like, this thing is an abomination. This is not, I mean, you guys were unsanctioned, but you were done so at least through the normal means. He kind of looks back at the door to this office and you can see probably some of that viscera and stuff that's in there. And he's like, I don't know that that's a good idea, Don. What happens if he frenzies again? And I'm not certain that I can control him.
He's evidence. He might be the most important vampire in London right now. He's infected with whatever this is. He's been made somehow, and he is vital. He might be priceless. And more than that, he's a person. Can't just leave him here or kill him. It's not his fault.
I know. It's just I have others that I have to worry about. The Camarilla's gonna know. He looks in desperation. He looks over at Sig. He says, Sig, you said you saw 6 of these things tearing across the street in London. Word's going to get to the Camarilla. They're going to know. They're going to see him. Do we really need this one? Is it any safe?
Sig will just like give that look, like you're asking all these questions and he doesn't know like the answer to any of them as you keep asking. So he'll just like shrug. I think Don's right. It's not right to just kill him. that doesn't help anybody. Like, for one, he's a person, and I don't want to do that. For two, what happens to the other 6? If assuming that those are the only ones, we don't even know. This could be happening everywhere. And even if it's not, even if it is just the 7 that we've seen so far, those other 6 are probably going to get killed. Almost certainly somebody's going to deal with them. And if we kill this one and they kill those ones, they're all gone. We have nothing.
That's what I mean.
We
This
need
is
something to keep.
a patient zero situation. And I've seen enough zombie movies to know that you have to keep the first one, so that you can fix a cure or something. What if this is some sickness that's going to spread among vampires? We have to think long term.
So, quick question, Rob. While we were collecting this evidence in this office, did we see anything that might indicate who was behind it? Any laptops, computers, file cabinet, anything? No, just
No, there
terrible
doesn't seem to be
operating.
any kind of paperwork or computers around. This is bare bones.
Well, you would even said it's something almost reminiscent of something you might see back in a Victorian or maybe even older time period, like bloodletting or whatnot.
Yeah, it's sort of like barbaric hospital equipment, you know, when it was all... It's not as old as that, but it's been fashioned to be reminiscent of that, as it were. It's not original Victorian operating table, but, you know, it's barbaric and horrible to look at, so...
We shouldn't hang here too long. We should just go and get, well, we still have night.
It's at that point that I think Toff worries, because he wouldn't necessarily think of this, but Don is usually on top of this. There's no surveillance here or anything that you could see. And he's kind of nervously looks around, like, for those little TV cameras and whatnot.
So I didn't actually check this time. Probably there are cameras somewhere.
Fuck. We gotta get out of here then. Done is done.
Yeah. Well, luckily for Don, he doesn't appear as himself, so he's fine. But you guys might be in trouble. But yeah, he would see to like gathering every bit of evidence that he can, and like literally scraping blood off surfaces and putting them into whatever containers he can find, and like taking those gross bits of blood and stuff like that. And once we've gathered as much of that as we can, probably in that shopping bag that Ollie brought me, he would say, we need to get underground, I think, and quickly. We can travel through the sewers. It's safer, especially if this is happening. And if he frenzies down there, it's not as bad as if it happens up above.
That's fine.
I guess an important question that I should ask is, would Zia ever give me a way to contact her, or to like get in touch about this meeting or anything? Because if not, I'm gonna have to try to get it from Cinder or someone else.
You know, it's not that I'm not trying to be difficult here. I don't recall you ever having that conversation, so I don't think you would have any way of... Yeah.
Yeah, Sig will send a text to Cinder then, while they're trying to get all this sorted, and just say, like, in like all caps, just like, please send me like Zia's phone number or some way to talk to her, like ASAP. It's not about what we talked about, but I need it. And then just like send.
Is a little while goes by, and then eventually there's much too long than you would have liked goes by, and you get a response, the number, and also what's up.
What do I tell her? I think not yet. So he'll once Sig has the number, he'll just like go to the other two and say, like, if we want to make a call, I can do that. but we need to do something soon. The longer that we wait, the more that this becomes something out of our hands.
We should go to Down Street first. He'll say as he's like gathering the stuff and moving down towards where the dude is, hoping that he hasn't pushed that thing aside and run away.
Sig, you receive another text saying, you promised.
Yeah, he'll just send a message back like, it's not about that. Something happened. And then I think he'd probably say like, can't talk now. I'll let you know as soon as I can. Just like something to give him a little bit more time, knowing that it probably won't actually do anything to discourage further inquiries about it.
That table upstairs, Rob, was it wooden?
No, it wouldn't have been. It would have been metal.
Okay, is there anything wooden in the office? I'm trying to make a stake so that if that we can like torpor this guy if he goes nuts.
Yeah, there would have been some cupboards and a desk.
Okay, so I think like it's easy enough as a vampire, just like crunch and pull and make something
easy,
vaguely steak-like. With that done, then gathered all the stuff. I would definitely want to basically, as soon as we get out of this warehouse, like find the nearest sewage entrance and like reef that off and bring everybody down there. They're going to hate it down there, but it's much safer, I think.
Yep, absolutely. You're able to do so. So just to clarify, you're definitely leaving him in there, but you're taking the evidence that you accrued.
No, we're taking him with us.
You are taking him. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood that.
Yep, I'm going to take him with me and bring him to Down Street. Hopefully, like between the knots there, they'll be able to at least control him.
Yeah, he doesn't appear to be causing any trouble just yet. Like he just goes with you. Like he's sort of just like this shaking mess. Look, he looks emaciated. He's like horribly thin. But like at this point, he's just in almost like a catatonic state. Like he's just looking into nothingness. His eyes wide.
Perfect. So I don't know how far it is. Down Street, probably really, really, really far from here. But I would try and get us at least in that direction, or to like the nearest tube station that we can get to from the sewers, so we can like pop up and get on the tram.
Yeah, I would like you all to make an alertness and perception, please.
Three.
Okay. That's enough.
4.
1, yeah.
1 for you, Siegfried. Okay.
Yeah, and 4 for Toff.
And 4 for Toff. Toff and Donncha, you hear it basically at the same time. The unmistakable cracking of automatic weapon fire in the night sky.
Above us.
You would have heard it on your way probably to the sewage entrance.
Okay. Yeah, so then double speed away from the streets. I think it's going to be mental out there. Likely going to be like armed police all over London and maybe Winchester all over London. And so we want to be far away from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. On your journey to Down Street, is there anything that you wish to be doing?
I would like get on the news on my phone and see like if it's all over the news in London, if it's happened anywhere else in the world, what the reports are, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there is allegedly some form of attack by some unknown assailants occurring in the centre of London in the Covent Garden area. There aren't many details, but it's like coming up with the breaking news thing. And already signs point to terrorism.
Well, that's good.
I think probably being able to see the screen light up and Don pull that up. I think Sig's just going to look at them while they're going and just say, "There's no time. If we're going to call somebody, we need to call somebody like now." And he's going to like start dialing the number, and unless Don like stops him, he's going to call
No,
right away.
Stop. There is time. We have to think. We can't just need to get down the street, get this guy safe. Because if we tell the wrong people and they send people after us, we're in trouble. At least in down the street, the Nos are on our side, or on my side, and Faye will protect me. We won't be too long until we get there.
And I think Toff is just keeping an extra close eye on this gentleman. Did he give you his name, Lloyd?
No. Sadie is his missus, though, I think.
Oh, he had a missus. Oh, said something at a wedding or something, right?
Yeah.
So I think so. Toff is staying close to him. At least at some point, he asks, "Do you have a name?"
Like shaking, he kind of looks at you as if seeing you for the first time. And he says, "Owen," as if remembering it. Owen.
I think Toff's going to lie to him and say, "Everything's going to be fine, Owen."
Toff, make an awareness perception roll, please.
Okay. Shoot, just one.
Yeah, you just say everything's going to be fine to him.
Yep.
Anything you want to plan before you arrive at Down Street? It will take you a while, so you have time to discuss if you want to make any further plans.
So my general sort of outline for the plan would be: we get to Down Street and we bring this guy to Faig, and we talk to him and say, "This is a huge deal, and we're thinking that we tell the Camarilla. It'll probably play well. This is the plan that we have. We need to make sure that he doesn't go nuts and that he's kept safe. And I think here is the safest place, weirdly enough, that he could be." That kind of thing. And then I'll get on my ShrekNet and see like if there's any mention of this in other parts of the world, and then we can tell whoever it is.
Yeah, ShrekNet has already blown up with the reports of this, and it would seem that London is on lockdown. Like, shit has just hit the fan, and it's rippling through the vampiric community.
Yeah, I'd be looking for any sort of like reference to this sort of like purple vampire clan, and my assumption is that there isn't one. But I'd kind of like begin searching for that kind of stuff. But that's my plan. I don't know what you guys think.
I think it's fine.
Well, my only concern is that by the time we like take all the time to get to Down Street, to talk to Feg, to do all that everything is already going to be out in the open, and that we'll have no actual information or bargaining anymore. Like, I think news of this is going to spread faster than we will travel to Down Street and like do all of this stuff. But again, the other option is to throw blind trust and to call somebody without talking it over. So I don't know if that's better.
So the thing about it is, I think that even if it like they have information, we have like a healthy live one of these, and we have all this evidence from the lab. So I think that that's useful regardless of if they've caught other ones.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we have an actual unliving specimen versus the other ones that would be riddled with bullets and who knows what else. And I think you were right, Lloyd. We have a really strong bargaining point.
Just think we have to be careful as opposed to, because I think that if we tell Zia, or if we like anyone like that, particularly Zia, since she's like the Archon, she could just come here, kill us all, take the dude. Like, it's entirely possible, you know.
I think that, well, counterpoint. Like, you personally trust Fag. Like, I don't know that I trust him as much as you do, in the
Right.
same way that you probably don't trust Zia as much as I do. So,
Okay. Yeah,
you
but the
know,
thing is, there's no way
there's
Faye
nothing.
can tell us. I don't think at all. I think like there's like Zia is an Archon and it has the power to do that if she wants to, and no one would do anything about it. I think it's a little, you know what I mean, a little bit different, like politically,
Yeah,
kind of thing. You know, I get where you're
yeah.
coming from,
I'm
though.
Yeah, like I'm okay with this plan. I just there are concerns, but I think no matter what we do right now, there's going to be concerns. Like I don't think that there's a perfect, easy solution to the current situation.
Further reports are coming in of these assailants. Some say that they lit themselves. One of them has been lit themselves on fire whilst attacking someone.
Right. So maybe phosphorus rounds or something.
It sounds like whatever it is, it's just being acknowledged as this most horrendous act that's occurred.
Is there a way for us to get on? No, we can't really get on the tram because there's people around the tube. Because there's people there, he might frenzy and start eating people. So we just have to walk. You guys both have celerity, and I don't. So it might be good if like the two of you grab him and run, like celerity wise, there, and I'll follow as quick as I can. I can get on the tram or whatever. Because you're right. Like the sooner we do it, the better.
Yeah, Toff I think is probably stronger. Like I mean, I guess we're vampires carrying a normal. Oh, he's a vampire too now though, so it's not just carrying a normal person.
Yeah, he's
If we
starved.
could,
Be very light. He's not looking healthy.
yeah. So I guess Sig will just like look over to Toff. Do you want to carry him or do you want me to? We can just bolt there quick. Get to him as soon as we can. Oh, he's on. Yeah, Lionel stepped away. In that case, I guess that I'll just do it. So like Sig will like try to be like as gentle as he can with this person. Just like I'm gonna pick you up. Like we need to move quickly. Like it's gonna be okay. You don't have to. Just like trying to like reassure him as best he can. Um, before he'll like bolt again for the second time now, just into full sprint. At this stage, I think we've been to Down Street enough that like Sig knows where it is and how to get there, and he'll just try to do so as fast as his vampiric powers can take him.
Okay, Siegfried, I want you to make an awareness and perception roll, please.
Just one success.
Something about the way he looks at you is quite strange. It's like something flicks across his vision for a moment. But you're able to run. And I mean, you've been to Down Street, so I'm sure there'd be a way that you'd be able to navigate. It isn't as easy for you. If are you going to stay underground to do this?
I think we just have to at this stage. It's too risky to be up in the potential firefight. Um, and like I've been to Down Street like at this point like 7 or 8 times at least. So it's it's not necessarily automatic navigation, but I think that there's enough that I could get there.
That's fine.
And I don't want to risk going crazy or getting found out or shot or whatever or
Absolutely.
seen.
Yeah, so you're actually able to arrive first, and you arrive in a manner that let me see. Would you know? Donncha would have learned there are different ways to get into Down Street, so I'm sure he could have told you that there, instead of going through the usual way of going to that abandoned tube station, the clown driver, you actually enter through some kind of ventilation system, and you're able to make your way to Down Street that way. And dragging this poor, wretched creature with you.
Yeah, once there's room, I'd like actually pick him up and carry him, rather than like physically drag him. But yeah, once I'm out of the ventilation system or whatever I have to go through to get here, Sig will just go like straight to Fag. Like he won't mess around with any delay.
Yeah, it's as you're getting to sort of the gutter that Fake lives above. Owen's voice seems to change slightly as he sings. 8 little kindred with no hope of heaven. What does that mean? What does that mean? Why is that in my brain?
I don't know, but we're gonna get you to somebody who can tell you more. He knows a lot more about all this than we do. He can talk to you. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, you're able to jostle him up the stairs. And sorry, Toff, you went with, right?
Yeah, I think he would have gone with Sig.
Yeah, so you hear that as well. So you're both able to sort of strong arm him up the stairs if you're going straight to Fage's office. I'm guessing you don't knock. I'm guessing you just go straight.
Yeah, this is code red in both my mind as a player and in Sig's mind. Like, there's no time for formalities or delays. This is emergency.
Yeah, Fage almost leaps to his feet when you enter. He sort of just jolts. What? What are you doing here?
Donncha's on his way too. He told us to come here. It's an emergency. Something's happening.
You mean to do with what has happened, huh? On the streets?
I saw it start. Donncha and Toff found this guy Owen locked in a thing. Like he just, and they'll just like babble out all the information as fast as he can.
I think as Sig's doing it, that's when Toff kind of presents Owen maybe a little bit more roughly than Sig would have, but he kind of shoves him forward so that Fade can get a good look. Him and
Our
his
friends-
kind
There you
are what's causing that problem up there.
Fage is just staring at this this individual, this Owen, and he gives a long sniff. Toff, my boy. Would you open that cupboard over there? Second
Yeah.
shelf down.
Yeah, he would hand over Owen to Sig, and he'd go and do it.
Yeah, you open the cupboard and you're sort of looking over with Owen has his back to you at this point. You open the cupboard and you see that there is a pristinely carved steak on the second shelf.
He kind of looks back at Fag, then he looks over at Sig, and maybe his hand shakes a little bit as he grabs this, and he brings it over to Fag, hoping that he's going to do with it what he thinks he's going to do with it, and he hands it to him.
This will be a formality, but as Fake has never actually attacked anyone before, I want to roll all of them. Hang on. Do I have the right page open? Yes, excellent. It's quite a lot of rerolls. I'm going to say he's able to succeed. There's no way this individual is going to be able to stop the primogen of the Nosferatu as he like you don't even see it happen. Like he just snatches up the stake and drives it into Owen's chest, plunging him into torpor. He collapses to the ground with a thud. It was good that you brought him to me. To this point, Donncha, I could say that you can arrive. That's fine. You enter the office to discover them standing over the the torpored form of Owen.
What is it? What is he? Is this a clan?
He is, from what I can tell, Kaitif.
What's that?
They are clanless. They belong to no one.
Right.
That can happen.
Yes, it can. But this one is not a normal Kaitif. No, they would just be like you and I, only a little bit, This one, he smells of something else.
Yeah, he's purple.
He has been starved. He is frenzy, yes? When you find him,
Yes.
he has not been fed human blood. This one is sired by a different means. This one has been sired by a diabolist. And that is where we're going to leave our creatures of the night tonight. So thank you very much, guys, for playing. We're now going to do what we always do, which is do the XP. So we're going to start with a learning curve. And this time I think we're going to start with Siegfried. What does Siegfried learn to this session, Jeff?
Siegfried has learned. So the first half of this session, I think Siegfried has learned that like growth is a large part of growth and opportunity is like just being the right person at the right time. Like he didn't do anything special to deserve any of the like station that he's suddenly been given, these points of meeting, these like secret plots to overthrow primogens. But because he just like was there and said yes, like now he's like a part of these things. With thinking that maybe it's just like the more that he can be around and be there, like that sometimes that's enough. If you can catch the right opportunity, that can be a big launching point, and that perhaps he's like standing at the edge of the springboard right now. Though this sudden distraction has perhaps shaked that up a little bit. But that's at least the main point, I think, for this.
Absolutely. A fine line indeed between opportunity and folly. Toff, what has Toff learned this session?
Toff, what has Toff learned? So this is going to sound strange, but I think it's what he didn't learn, which is he is like a ship adrift in the ocean without a helmsman right now. His whole world has been turned upside down, and he figures, well, I'll just go find Dawn. I'll find Sig. We'll sit down. Maybe we'll get a couple of warm bloods to feast upon for a little bit while we chill. Maybe we check out their club, and I'll get this thing square. But then he goes from what's already happened to him to just be in this. So he's just like, I guess he's directionless right now. So he's just grasping for anything right now. So it's almost like he's like almost anything that's rational that Dawn says, he's probably like, yep, that sounds like a great idea. Dawn, we definitely got to do this. So he's like more of a cleaner slate, because his world's been tipped upside down. So he didn't really learn. That's about what he learned.
For sure. I like it. And what did Don learn this session?
A lot. I think he learned that he's not actually in charge of this group. Like that's always been the case, but I think like when we were like going to Fag, and Siegfried was like, "I don't trust Fag," and I was like, "Well, I said we're going." Like that's So it's like it was the case previously because he was like the only level-headed one that we just did what Don said, and that still happened here. But I think the older and more experience we get, the less that's going to happen. I think that was like something that he has to think about. Is that like they don't trust Fag? Why would they? It's not like he's a maniac. He's an ancient maniac, but he's like a father figure to Donncha at this stage, and so he really does trust him. But while he would see Zia as just like clearly a bad person, like obviously working for like the shadowy arm of the shadow government, of like so far from being trustworthy, and it's like baffling. It's just like an interesting thing that like he can see this one person as trustworthy, and Sig can see this other person, and like it's just mental. Yeah, so I think I don't know. He's not the boss, basically, is what he learned.
That's a very good point, actually, and it does go to show that even in your group there are lines created by which clans you belong to, which is pretty special. So back around now, obviously you will get a point of experience for showing up. That's the one I forget, and then we talk about something cool that the characters did. I think I'm gonna know what we're gonna pick for Jeff, but let's start with Siegfried.
Rather than going with the given, which we all know what that is. What I loved when Jeff was actually several times in this session, Siegfried via Jeff was put in these really tough positions, and I love how Jeff played it out. He didn't take the easy road, like I just love the way you did that, Jeff, because I'm still, as a player, what is he going to do? Is he really good? Because Sig is a very complex character, and I really loved that you did that, and I loved it, and I loved that when we were in the sewer, you were going to do it, but there's still that loyalty, I think, that you have to Don, and when he's like, no, don't do that, you listened and you put your phone away. And even when we were away from Don, and you could have easily whipped out your phone, knowing that most likely than not, Toff's not going to stop you, and you could have done it. But no, you stayed loyal, and I like that bit. So it's going to be interesting how that plays out in the future sessions.
I really like that there was a good chance that he wasn't going to stay loyal in that situation. And I was like, when I had sent you guys off, I was like, they're going to fucking take this guy wherever the hell they feel like, and I can't stop them doing it. And I really felt like more than once that Sig was just going to be like, fuck off. No, I'm doing what I want to do, because now I have real cool, trendy art friends, and they're more powerful than you are, which I thought was good, and I liked it, but it's also kind of heartbreaking, because it's like we don't really, like as a group, like we're not that close, I don't think, and like it makes sense that you would like go for people who are like you, and that you'd want to spend more time with them. And when they like present you this like, you can get in on the ground floor of this like new thing, that you'd want to do that, even if it's like not in our best interest, but it is in your best interest. I thought that was cool, like striking out of his own a bit more.
The song.
Yeah.
Because you got that's, like I said, that's given. I just I liked that you just ran past the insanity as well. I was like, I wonder if anyone's actually going to stick around and see what happens, and I'm glad you didn't, because it would have been messy. But I just love that whole scene. But obviously the song as well. Let's go with Toff. Something cool that Toff did.
I think that it says a lot about Toff, and perhaps something about Sig as well, that despite everything that happened to Toff, all this like horrific disaster between his bandmates dying in a crazy explosion, his primogen and sire being literally drained dry, that the moment that Don said that he had a problem, Toff just dropped all that to go help him, which is like insane that he would do that, but also like I think very cool. And I think it shows like a lot of genuine, like, as much as it's easy to say that we're not close in a lot of ways, which I think is true, like in other ways, there's kind of this deeper bond of like we're all in our shit together at this point, whether we're best friends or not. And the fact that Toff would drop all his crazy, like, code red level disaster just to go help Don with his crazy disaster was like very cool. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I really liked that also, and the fact that like I think it says something about the relationship that Donncha and Toff have, that like maybe it's a bit shitty, because Donncha's like, no, my problem's important, not your problem. Whatever, it's your thing. There's a random vampire over here. That's more important than whatever happened to you. And Toff is like, well, you're the smart one, I guess. And so he just like goes with it, which I think is also. But I really love just the image of the two of them like leaning against the shipping container and like having a smoke and like not talking about all of the heavy shit that had happened. You know, I think that was like maybe my favorite Toff bit.
My point was that Toff didn't bring up any of his stuff. Like, absolutely, he literally dropped everything to go and help like that, which I think says a lot about him. Toff is really perplexing me at the moment, because there was that whole thing with feeding Johnny to a tiger, and then there's these selfless moments like this. So yeah, I just think overall Toff warms my heart every session, despite his many mistakes. Yeah, and finally, something cool that Don did.
Oh my gosh, Lloyd always does cool shit with Don, anyways. But so what I thought was the coolest thing, and this is gonna sound really weird, because it's so subtle, but it's so outside of Don. The whole CCTV thing. Like at that moment when I'm like, Toff's like, well, wait a second, there's CCTVs, thinking that Don took care of all that stuff, and he looks at him, and he's like, so you took, basically, like, you took care of the cameras, and he's like, Donncha's never thought of any of that, and I just loved that so subtle moment, but it carries so much. Like, he was so fixated on following that trail, and when he found that thing, he was like, he was outside of Don's character, which I thought was so great. And it was, Lloyd, you played it so well. Because you could have easily said, oh, yeah, I totally would have looked for CCTVs. But you said, no, I didn't look for any. And I love that moment because it was so outside of what Don would normally do.
Yeah, kind of like tied into that, but slightly separate. It's like seeing, like, there's like this large streak of Don as being this like very like independent, very like, I'm gonna find my own solutions and my own things to do. Yet whenever things hit the fan, like in a big way, he always reliably goes back to Feg in particular. Of like this, he's kind of built this like, I don't want to say reliance on Feg because that's maybe too strong a word, but there's this kind of thing that he continuously has done over and over again. Of like, whenever things get over his own head, it's never like, I need to figure it out. We need to figure it out. It's like, no, we need to go talk to Fag. We need to bring in the big guns. Because like, which I think is, it's kind of that a mixture of that pragmatism of like, we need to solve this problem, and the strongest, most resourceful people that we know are going to help us do that. But I think also kind of at this stage, what might even be like a reliance on Fag. Like, there's the oh shit button that he can press at any time to go back to Fag, and it's interesting to kind of see that continuing to develop through Don's character. Of like, perhaps I think he probably trusts Fag and cares more about Fag than he maybe even does us, depending on each individual moment.
You know, it's really interesting because this session has, I think, shown very different sides to these characters. My favorite Don bit by far was the moment he chose to try and talk to Owen, and he was in the position that he hasn't been in before, which is telling someone else that you've become a vampire, which obviously you have fairly recent memories of. Now you're no longer the new kids, and I just loved that little decision that Donncha made to talk to him and tell him straight and try and make it a bit better for him, even though the truth is unbelievable, even though the truth is horrifying. He took that step, and now, yeah, you're no longer the newbies. So that was really fun, guys. Thank you ever so much for that. I really enjoyed that session, full of surprises, for me in particular. So all that leaves me to say now is thank you if you are watching live or after the fact, and we will catch you next time. I've forgotten how I sign off. I've got really rusty.
Something. We're all here, friends here, or are we?
Oh, we're all friends here, or are we? Take it easy, and I hope that all of your performances are up to standard. Goodbye.